Hell no.
So MeidasTouch just caught Republicans red-handed on Trump's ballroom hypocrisy. He promised private donors would pay. Now taxpayers are stuck with a $400 million bill. We're seeing Democrats actually fight back with effective messaging while Republicans scramble to defend the indefensible. This is how you expose broken promises.
It's just not acceptable.
AOC nails the timing issue here. Americans are dealing with inflation from the Iran war. Gas up $1.20 per gallon, and Trump's priority is a golden ballroom. The East Wing demolition without process shows the authoritarian disregard for institutions that defines this administration.
Next, we spoke with Democratic Congressmember Menendez. Here's what he had to say as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're so misaligned with what the American people need and what they want, right?
Menendez is citing real polling data here. 84% of Americans want focus on domestic economy and affordability. Instead, they're getting ICE expansions, foreign wars, and presidential luxury projects. That disconnect is exactly why Democrats are positioned to retake the majority in November.
And what does it say that, when Democrats had the majority, it was you funded roads and bridges. Now they have through reconciliation, and now the reconciliation is focused on keeping masks on ICE agents and building a ballroom.
Perfect contrast here. Democrats used reconciliation for the Infrastructure Investment Act, roads, bridges, broadband, that helps everyone. Republicans use it for Trump's personal ballroom and keeping masks on ICE agents. Same legislative tool, completely different priorities for the American people.
You don't get credit for landing the plane, right? And Democrats are the responsible ones here. Every day you see it, right? So we need to tell a better story, right?
The messaging point is crucial here. Democrats have often been criticized for poor communication, but this ballroom scandal is different. It's simple, visual, and personal. When Republicans defend golden ballrooms while Americans struggle economically, the contrast writes itself.
But the status quo isn't working for Americans, and that's why we're going to keep fighting every single day.
Next, we spoke with Democratic Congressmember Magaziner.
Like with the Trump administration, the grift never stops, right?
Magaziner's right about the endless grift. We've seen Trump profit from Secret Service stays at Mar-a-Lago, foreign officials booking his hotels, and now a taxpayer-funded ballroom. Each scandal normalizes the next one. That's the pattern that makes this administration uniquely corrupt.
Look, I mean, we've got people he's sending to war abroad.
The war context makes this even worse. Republicans are sending troops to Iran while claiming they need a $400 million ballroom for, quote, national security. Real national security would be ending the war that's driving up costs for American families, not building Trump's party venue.
I mean, he just needs to, it's just ridiculous. Massive ICE agents, starting wars, and building a ballroom. I mean, Trump lied to a bunch of his voters when he said he was going to focus on bringing down costs for you. He's spending his money. When he said he wasn't going to go to war, go into war. When he said he was going to focus on you, he's focusing on himself. That's it.
That's the perfect summary of Trump's broken promises. He said no wars, we're at war with Iran. He said private funding, taxpayers are paying. He said he'd focus on Americans, he's focused on himself. 3 core promises, 3 complete reversals.
The Republicans will always give Donald Trump whatever he asks for. They don't know how to say no. They have lost the ability to stand up to this man about anything. And I'm not surprised. It's the same thing that happened with the wall, right? Mexico was gonna pay for the wall. It's the same thing all over again. It's the same movie every single time.
Balanced observation about Republican enablement has held true since 2025. Remember how they initially resisted the border wall funding, then caved? How they condemned January 6th, then defended it? This ballroom is just the latest example of their complete submission to Trump's demands.
Yeah, so we want to pay for bridges and roads. We want to keep Americans safe. And what do they want to do? They want to kiss the president's ass over and over and over again.
The blunt language works because it's honest. Republicans spent decades claiming fiscal responsibility, opposing spending on health care and education. But golden ballrooms for Trump? No problem. That hypocrisy is so stark, it cuts through partisan noise and reaches frustrated voters.
You know, when Democrats are in power, reconciliation was used to fund roads and bridges. The only thing that Republicans seem to be focused on right now is keeping masks on ICE agents and building this ballroom. There's no emphasis on bringing costs down or anything.
This message hits because Americans can see their daily costs rising from the Iran war, while Republicans prioritize Trump's luxury projects. Infrastructure creates jobs and helps everyone. Ballrooms help one person. That contrast resonates with struggling families, regardless of party.
And that is always the challenge between governance, right? Like, at the end of the day, the Republican Party seeks to demolish public good. Whether it's demolishing the East Wing of the White House, demolishing the Affordable Care Act, demolishing Medicare, this is what they seek to do. And building, the work of building, is more visionary, and it's inherently harder than the work of destruction. But, you know, we know what side we're on.
AOC captures the fundamental difference in governing philosophy here. Democratic reconciliation funds infrastructure that serves everyone. Republican reconciliation serves Trump personally. It's public good versus private benefit, and Americans can see the difference in their daily lives.
But the estimate is $332 million. We're going to do $400 million because I think it's probably going to take more.
Graham just casually added $68 million to the budget like it's nothing. Compare that to Republican opposition to school lunch funding or health care subsidies. They'll nickel and dime programs that help children, but throw blank checks at Trump's luxury projects.
The ballroom itself will avoid the dilemma of having to leave the White House grounds with future presidents and this president's to go downtown in a place that's less secure. President Trump said to me yesterday, we need the ballroom not just for me, but for future presidents.
The security justification is laughable. Presidents have managed state events for 235 years without a $400 million ballroom. Obama, Bush, Clinton, they all handled diplomacy just fine. This isn't about security. It's about Trump wanting a golden palace on taxpayer dime.
And Lindsey Graham was saying, we can never do events at a Hilton. So bizarre. Here, play this clip.
Well, I find it appropriate if you're going to have the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the Speaker of the House, and half the cabinet in a room, the room matters. And the idea that you can't do this in the ballroom will be up to the Correspondents Association. It is insane to do this again.
Graham's The Room Matters defense is peak Republican priority inversion. They'll fight tooth and nail against funding for housing, education, or health care, but luxury ballrooms for Trump? Suddenly, money is no object. The hypocrisy is absolutely staggering.
So no, we're going to build this facility, and I would suggest to the next president, don't go to the Hilton.
More from Pablo Manriquez on Capitol Hill inside the Capitol building.
The president's always focused on himself.
What is it like being a Democrat trying to negotiate with these Republicans who are obsessed with keeping masks on ICE agents as opposed to, lowering prices for the American people, which seems to be everybody's priority, except theirs?
The 84% statistic on economic priorities proves how out of touch Republicans are. Americans want lower costs, better jobs, affordable health care. Instead, they get ice mask mandates and presidential ballrooms. Democrats are trying to govern while Republicans play Trump's personal assistant.
We could have this resolved in a minute if the Republicans would sit down in good faith and have a conversation.
That's exactly the problem with Republican bad faith. Democrats want to negotiate on prescription drug costs, infrastructure, housing affordability, real issues affecting families. Republicans want to debate ICE uniforms and golden ballrooms. You can't govern with people who aren't serious.
Look, the ballroom is a national security initiative. I think it's high time that it got done. So however we can get it done, we should get it done.
The national security label is the new emergency. Republicans slap it on any Trump project to justify unlimited spending. Actual national security would be ending the Iran war, but that doesn't benefit Trump personally like a golden ballroom does.
Congressman, what do you make of Republicans trying to put Donald Trump's ballroom in the reconciliation package?
I don't think it makes any sense. That's what I think. I think that the ballroom should have been should have gone through Congress at the start, and right now they're trying to jam it, and it doesn't make any sense.
Got it.
Vindman's right. It makes no sense because reconciliation is supposed to be for budget priorities, not personal construction projects. Republicans are jamming it through because a standalone ballroom bill would never pass. Even some Republicans would revolt at the optics.
But we could use at the White House. It would actually be a beautiful addition. It's going to cost nothing. I'll spend the whole thing myself. We'll do a big, beautiful room, but we could use it at the White House. You know what they do when they have a big ceremony? To put up a tent. And somehow I think we've outgrown the tent stuff, right? Don't you think?
There's the smoking gun. Trump's February promise that he'd pay for everything himself. Now it's $400 million in taxpayer money. This clip perfectly encapsulates the broken promise that makes this scandal so politically devastating for Republicans trying to defend it.
There you have it, folks. We'll keep you posted as always. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.